When I bet, I like getting something back, win or lose. That's why we're excited to announce our new partnership with Fanatics Sportsbook. It's the only sportsbook that gives you fan cash when you bet, win or lose. Use fan cash on all Knicks, NBA, or other fan gear, as well as bonus bets, collectibles, and more. It's the most rewarding place for fans to place their bets. Download the Fanatics Sportsbook app now and let the fan cash flow. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut residents call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts residents call 800-327-5050. New York residents call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland residents visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
What's good, KFS Nation? You are now locked into another episode of the Casual Friday Pod on the Knicks Film School YouTube channel. I'm Jeff. That's Sean with a W. You are amazing. And we are here on a Friday to talk about the Knicks week there was. And we have a Knicks week to come because the Knicks stayed alive. They rejected the God of Death. And they're going on to Game 6 on Saturday. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody tapping in with us live. You already know the vibes. Like this video if you love what you're hearing. Comment, subscribe, tell a friend to get to the KFS channel right now. Watch Casual Friday so we can talk about one of the most fascinating series I think I've watched since I've been a Knicks fan, since I've been covering the league, since I've been watching sports. Literally don't know what's going to happen next, but I guess that is the beauty of what it is. Sean, how are you feeling, man?
I am at peace. I don't want to say I'm at the acceptance stage of grief because I haven't been grieving, but I accept anything that will happen on Saturday night for Game 6. I'll tell you, it's funny. My son goes to his after-school program, and one of his classmates' after-school program is a Knicks fan. And she's 8 years old. And I went to go pick her up yesterday before Game 5. And every time we see each other, she's like, Knicks, and she's happy. And she saw me, and she got sad, and she was like, "Oh," she's like. Actually, you know what she said to me? She said, she saw me and I said, "We're going to win." She said, "If they lose tonight, I'm going to crash out." And I was like, one, you're 8 years old. You shouldn't be crashing out over anything. But two, I was like, don't crash out. We're going to win. Right. But I told her, I was like, listen, there's no need to crash out if they lose. But I was at a place where yesterday, I texted all y'all in the morning because, obviously, Tuesday night, emotions were running. Wednesday, I was like, and then Thursday, I woke up. I said, put in a campus faculty chat, I'm ready to be hurt again. But I was ready to be hurt again because I was like, knowing this team, even though trying to figure out this team is like an exercise of futility sometimes, I was like, they're going to win this game because that's what they do. Because they cannot handle prosperity, but they are absolutely excellent when their backs are against the wall. So here we are.
Yeah, I hear that, man. Before we go any further, we do have to acknowledge, and we have a super chat. Thank you, Z, for letting it go. This is the first broadcast in the 30K sub era of Knicks Film School. Shout out to the entire squad. Put in the work day in, day out, front of the camera, behind the scenes, everything in between. 30,000 subscribers, and it doesn't happen without you who are watching, you who have tapped in, whether you're day one or day now. You've shared the videos, You've told people about KFS. You've locked in and you've shown up time and time again to be a part of our section of the greater Knicks fandom and the basketball fandom community. So thank you. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you to the subscribers. We really appreciate it. It's wonderful to be a part of this brand and to see it grow what feels like exponentially over the past year. So it's really a phenomenal achievement for real.
Yeah, man. Listen, and so many, like you said, it doesn't matter if you're day one or day now, but so many of you were here from the days of, like, I just posted a clip from Mark Berman when he was on the podcast in 2020. And like back then when we were like, you know, the summer of 2020, when, you know, we're watching the bubble on TV because we're invited to go. And and I was hoping like maybe we could contend for the 10th seed. So listen, like Chris Persian always says, me and you, Jeff, could have this conversation with ourselves on FaceTime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or any other apparatus, but it's you all that make this work. So again, thanks to all 30,000 of you and beyond.
For sure. All right, let's get back to the talk, because I was where you were at after Game 4. I was there after Game 4. Shout out to my guy, our guy, Dexter Henry, Brian Fonseca. I was on the New York Got Game watch along for Game 4. And shoot, it might as well have been a hate watch for me. Because I understood that this team was ready to be super frustrating. And watching that game and seeing pretty much a lot of the things that went right be completely forgotten, and allowing the Pacers to go on runs that they really shouldn't have, turning the ball over carelessly. I was just over it. And there was a part in the watch along where Dex was asking me about my confidence about them coming back from down 3-1. And I told him, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
He's like, what do you mean? I said, bro, it doesn't matter if I pray above. It doesn't matter if I pray to below. It doesn't matter if I have faith. It doesn't matter if I'm faithless. If I'm dejected or elated. This team defies even supernatural assistance or hindrance. They are the epitome of control what you can control.
Yes.
But in this situation, they have the ultimate control. And you know, there's times where fans can will a team and, you know, positive energy. We set up like all of the citizens of Earth to send Goku our energy so that he could have the biggest spirit bomb possible to win his fight.
Yeah.
I feel like they have that spirit within them, and it's on them to bring it out consistently day in and day out. Now, that doesn't mean that I wasn't rooting for them. That doesn't mean that I had no rooting interest, but I didn't feel like putting my emotions on the floor again for them, putting them on the line, putting all the stock in the faith, even in the midst of history being against them, a historic obstacle to overcome. If this was last year, because of the position they were in, I'd be fully on board. Because if any team made me believe they could overcome whatever odd, it was last year's Knicks. This year's Knicks is the complete opposite, and it isn't because of a lack of talent. It isn't because of any of that. It's just because I feel like when they wake up in the morning, you get the team that you get. And we have no control over it. So shout out to whoever it was on Twitter who said that they hired a witch off of Etsy to cast a spell so that the Knicks could win Game 5. I know it's fake, but I was crying. And the one thing I said was, why wouldn't you pay the extra money to get the series?
Baby steps.
Right? Was the juju the juju had to be concentrated? The spell had to be concentrated on one specific game? I don't know. But yeah, man. And overall, it's just been because I think this single season of the Knicks has been the most maddening that I can remember to where there's been years where you knew that they didn't have the talent, but they had to fight.
Yes.
Right? You knew that they or they either had the talent, didn't have the fight, had the fight, didn't have the talent. This team is the one that has both, but we just don't know when it's going to show up. So when I went into game 5, it was again, I was annoyed the whole day or most of the day. But then I got to around game time and I said, okay, let's lock in. I saw a lot of the motivational tweets. I seen people holding the line. I said, yo, I even said it to Dex. This is our battle of the bastards. Game 5 is our battle of the bastards. And I want to be the right bastard in this sense. And we were Jon Snow. The New York Knicks were Jon Snow that day. And they were able to overcome. You were in the building, Sean. Mm-hmm. You were in the building.
Yes.
Tell me what the vibes were inside MSG.
So I got there a little late. I actually got there shortly after tip-off for the dumbest reason. The reason being my plan was to get a haircut before I get to the Garden, and my barber's in Harlem, and I took the Metro North. And I sat there and just watched my train pull up to Harlem 125th Street, open the doors, close the doors, and keep going. And I was like, yo, wait a minute, I was supposed to get off here. Whatever. So I got in the building just after tip. And my the person I usually go to the games with was not able to go. So put up the ticket on StubHub. I'm on Ticketmaster and it sold. I was like, okay, great. And the gentleman sitting next to me was a Pacer fan. How did I know he was a Pacer fan? Get a t-shirt. He had a white t-shirt on, and it had Reggie Miller doing the choke side on one side and Tyrese Halliburton doing the choke thing on the other side. And I was like, all right. I actually texted the person. I was like, a Pacer fan's in your seat. And he replied with a bunch of expletives. The energy wasn't nervous. The energy was, like, for me, it was like, okay, they should win this game. And like, when I sat down, it was 10-3. So I was like, all right. And for the most part, because they basically kept them at arm's length for the majority of the game, there wasn't any, it didn't really get too nervous until that third quarter where it dropped down to 10. And there were a couple threes that got hit, and then it was like, all right, come on, guys.
Right.
And I'll say that there was a sense, I felt it, I'm sure I'm not the only one in the building, that like, if you let this league get to single digits, it's going to get spooky. And to the Knicks' credit, they did not. So the energy was good. Ultimately, and you know what it is? Andrew said this yesterday on the post game. Even though only 14 teams have come back from 3-1 down to win in any series. 13 teams have come back from 3-1 down.
You're speaking 14 into existence.
13 teams have come back from 3-1 down to win a series, but 11 have happened this century. So that's good. On the flip side, and I've said this so often, teams usually don't win Game 5 on the road to end the playoff series because in the back of their mind, they know they have Game 6 in their back pocket. We were just in that situation last round. But increasingly more often, you're seeing teams win Game 5 on the road to close it out. We saw Minnesota do it to the Lakers in round 1. We saw this Pacer team do it to the Cavs. So in the back of my mind, I was thinking like they could, especially Indiana, knowing that OKC had already taken care of business. They may want to take care of business, but like I said, they took care of business, and you heard the Knicks in 7 chance, because listen, if New Yorkers are going to be anything, is that we're going to be confident. So, and as John said, and I said it last night, I said it in our group chat, I'll say it again. If this team wins Game 6, they're going to win Game 7, and I was listening to the Hoop Collective this morning, and they brought up a good point. For the first time in this run of success for the Tyrese Halliburton Indiana Pacers, this is the first time the pressure is going to be on them. This is the first time where like they've been the underdog, they've been underestimated, not discounted, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, even in the series against Milwaukee, where they had home court advantage, like, well, they still got Giannis. This is the first time where it's like, if you don't win this game, it's about to be spooky for you, and I'm curious to see how they'll respond.
Yeah, and you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about those comparisons about the game 5 and having the game 6 in your back pocket, especially when that you're trying to close out on the road, and what goes into it. Here's where I think the Knicks are different. The Knicks rode a wave of emotion, sure. Rode the home crowd, was charged up, and they were able to close out. Couple of things that make this different. The game 5 performance was with a bunch of different characters and different circumstances, pretty much what they did to them in game 1. Save a historic collapse. The Knicks were leading by double digits, second half, got to the fourth quarter. The only difference was this time around, Aaron Nesmith didn't summon the powers of Shazam to be able to hit all of those threes. And the Knicks didn't allow him to do so, let him step into those. That's the first thing. The second thing is, with the Celtics, they were channeling so much emotional energy. They lost their best player. They were at home. They were the defending champions. When I made the joke about Battle of the Bastards, that was literally their last stand.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them celebrate on our home court. Brown had a torn meniscus. KP still got whatever KP got respiratorily. They were worn down. And they gave everything they gave in order to win that game 5, including an unconscionable performance from Luke Cornett. The Knicks in game 5, save a cat knee contusion, pretty much healthy. The bench contributions and the 9th, 10th man contributions that they've been getting, they're the same contributions they've gotten in game 3 and game 4. This is a consistent contribution. Yes, it was emotional. Yes, they had their backs to the wall. We also know that this team, there's two constants about this team this season. When they're doubted the most is when they show up the best. And if this game is close with 5 minutes or less, more often than not, the other team is going to lose. And I think now those two things are in the back of the Pacers' mind. It's already out there. Like, I was watching various post games and all that, and Chuck on the post game said, they better take care of game 6 because they're going to get their ass kicked again in game 7 if they come back here. They do not. He said the booty's going to get tight. They don't want to come back here, especially not after what happened. Like, you can troll all you want and talk about game 7 villains, blah, 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 blah. Game 7, Madison Square Garden, when you were the favorite and you got to get back on a plane and get to MSG and win. Yeah, those guys were spooked a little bit in game 5 too. That's why I think when you got to your seat, Sean, they had to call a timeout. I think after Brunson hit that last 3 and they were up 14, he had to call a timeout because you could see these guys were like, yo, this is a totally different team. The final thing I would say is, tactically, they change things that can travel. The defense on Halliburton, the attentiveness to defense, the intensity, the aggression, the physicality. Those things can travel. If they do it consistently, those things can travel. So when I put all of those factors together, I think this is what makes this attempt to come back down from 3-1 a little bit different.
Let me ask you a question, and this is a stupid ass question, but I'm going to ask you this question anyway. Oh no, when I ask you, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is stupid. You talked about, like, you know, when their backs against the wall, that's how they operate. Why do you think they do this? Why? See, it's a stupid question, huh?
I don't
like,
think it's a
why?
Because I don't know. I don't know. We've come up with so many answers where, based on what you know about the team and you know about the players and you know about the character of the squad, it goes antithetical. I remember when we had this conversation earlier in the season, we said these guys act like they're the champions and they won something, and they did. I don't know if they carry themselves like that. I do think there are times where they get comfortable. I think in that game one, they got comfortable, thought the Pacers were done, and then they got caught out there. And then once you got put into that comeback spin cycle, you allowed for randomness to affect the outcome, such as referee calls, turnovers, stupid decisions. You allowed all of that to further impact the game. Whereas, for example, this game, between the second and third quarter, they had 11 turnovers. 11 of their 15 turnovers. I think they had, for the game, if I'm not mistaken, the Knicks had 15 turnovers.
Yes.
11 of those 15 came between the second and the third quarter, where it felt like they were trying to do their damnedest to help Indiana get back. But you could tell, although they were selling with the turnovers, that they were still composed in a sense overall. Like, as soon they would make up for it back on the other end or do something like that. So yeah, man, there should be nothing about the character of this team that allows them to be comfortable at any point. But I that's why I said I don't think it's a dumb question, because I don't have a smart answer.
The reason I say it's a dumb question, because it's like, if we knew the answer, they would know the answer. And I don't think they know the answer, but I think they should, and I think that's what's the most annoying thing about it. I'm trying to see, because what I really want to look up is like live ball turnovers, because like for example, Pivot Fate has bad pass turnovers. In game 4, they had 8 bad pass turnovers, and they had, Jesus Christ, yes, and they had 9 yesterday. Good Lord. I'll say this. Mike Lombardi always says, it says this for football, but I think it applies for basketball as well. If you want to play better defense, the way to play better defense is to play less defense. And how do you play less defense? You know, there's a difference between like transition defense is more defense than half-court defense. How do you prevent transition defense? You either score, you get offensive rebounds, right? So the Knicks made a conscious effort to be better. They were much better in transition. There were a couple of times they're jogging back, but they're much better in transition. But listen, they hit 6 more shots in game 5 than they did in game 4. That's 6 less opportunities that Indiana could get to take the ball out and run.
Right.
So like to your point, they played like their season was on the line, which it was. I was going to say that this team is pretty good as a front-running team, but then again, we saw it happen in game 1, although I knew that, like, there's no chance. I will say this. When they cut the lead down to, like, in the 10 and, like, 12 late in the fourth quarter, it was like there was a sequence when they were up 14 and they hit a 3 to go up 17, and I literally looked up at the heavens like this. Like, I wasn't like, thank you. Just shut the door on these dudes. But, yeah, listen. If you want to play less defense, if you want to play better defense, play less defense. And you know what? And you know how you can play less defense? You play players who are playing better defense. Because I forget who tweeted this today. Like, DeLon Wright is the first Knick in 4 years to stay in front of TJ McConnell.
Yo, him and Shamet.
The Landry Shamet game. Yo, shout out to, I forget if it was Bully or Jason M or somebody in KFS Study Hall that said this. I don't remember who, so I apologize if I forget. They're like, the playoff teams are all about unsung heroes.
Yep.
Deep playoff runs are about unsung heroes, about guys who you don't expect to put up performances. And that saying was because, Tibbs is so rigid, like, I'm only going to trust these 7 guys. Like, no, you need a campaign in game 1 against Detroit. You needed Landry Shaman in game 5. You need a Quentin Grimes against the Heat in game 5 when he plays all 48 minutes. You need unsung heroes. You need to go deep to your bench. You need to find ways. You need to find every advantage you have in the margin. And they did that last night.
Exactly, man. I agree with it. At some point, you got to let the players through their game tell you that they can't be trusted. And one of the criticisms that I have is we have to be more egalitarian. I believe the Knicks have to be more egalitarian with the penalty structure for playing time. If a certain course of events would deem you bench worthy, then that needs to apply for everyone, save certain circumstances. Okay, if you need points and Cat and JB are out there selling, you may have to eat that. I get that. Those are your 2 superstars. Everybody else, or even Cat in certain situations with the defense or whatever, or Brunson, it could happen. The circumstances change by round. Bro, when I tell you there was a part of the game where I thought I was watching Blue Chips and not Knicks Pacers, with the way Josh Hart was just selling, he redeemed himself in that fourth quarter, because there was a point where he like threw the ball away and it was another transition basket for the Pacers. And I was like, yo, please. And you could check my tweets. I was like, yo, he needs to sit. He needs to sit. Something ain't right now. And he came back and he hit 2 shots that eventually kept them arm's length enough. So I respect the redemption. I tip my cap. I also know if that was Deuce McBride, he would be ankle chained to the bench with a ball and chain. Ankle chained to the bench. And this is part of the Knicks and how they beat themselves. They make it harder on themselves to win by putting themselves in certain situations. And mind you, it wasn't just Josh. I'm not singling him out, but it seemed as if they were getting into certain rhythms and he just had untimely errors, offense and defense, untimely errors where, yo, man, it's elimination time. I fully support trusting the guys that got you there, but there has to be a time where you look up, and even if you give him a blow for a minute or two, yo, just get your head right. A minute or two, we put this guy in, then you get him right back in, reset him a bit. Something. And at the same token, I'm also the same guy who said, I never want to see the OG starting lineup play again. And what did they do in this game? They were a plus 18. Well, no, they weren't a plus 18. What were they, a plus 3? They were a plus 3 in this game. And they were the lineup that shut the door on the Pacers. I don't know if it was in spite or because, but they did. What's a stat? Oh, after you comment on that, let me know what's something that stuck out to you about this game. Mute.
Actually, what I was gonna say is something that stuck out to this game. It's actually 2 things. One, I find it hilarious that if I have this right, so Josh Hart in games 1 and 2 averaged 36 minutes a game. And in games 3, 4, and 5, he's averaged 35 minutes a game. And in games 3, 4, and 5, he was on the bench. And games 1 and 2 is a starter. So leave it to Tibbs to move someone to the bench, but making sure they find themselves like 35 minutes. So, right, whatever.
It's like the picture where you see a guy's progress pics for working out, and the only difference is he's closer to the camera.
Exactly.
Farther away
exactly.
From the
camera. Or the dude with the shirt for Christmas that goes like this, and it's the same shirt.
Right.
But one thing I noticed, because, all right, I'll say this. you don't get Josh Hart. You don't get just because you played well. You've played well in both fourth quarters of the last two games. That does not give you license to sell the first three quarters. Like, you can't sell. But luckily, since the team was up 20, those turnovers weren't as impactful. But they weren't. One thing I did notice. So from where I was sitting at the basket Knicks are shooting at in the second half. A lot of Josh Hart's turnovers are live ball turnovers where he penetrates, gets into the lane, and passes. And he's not looking at the rim. And you know what, Jeff? The Pacers know this. They're anticipating the pass because he's not looking at the rim when he gets in close. And listen, I tweeted yesterday, like, about Josh Hart's issues, and someone was like, I was like, yo, you cannot be, and I said this all year, you cannot be a starting shooting guard and two guard in the NBA and not take open shots. And someone tried to say, well, that's just one thing compared to all the other great things he does. I was like, well, you mean like all the live ball turnovers and the not looking at the rim and like space cadetting on defense and getting back cut? Like, nah, like you don't get to do that. You don't. So that's the thing I noticed. And listen, again, those live ball turnovers, because listen, I know in Indiana for Game 6, they're gonna try to get back on. They're gonna try and stand on business what they do. They're gonna try to get on transition. They're gonna try and get fast breaks off of made baskets. And if that avalanche starts rolling downhill and that crowd gets into it, it ain't gonna be as easy.
One thing that I saw stat wise that I thought was interesting. The Knicks won the assist battle. They had 2 more assists than Indiana. Generated 1 less point off of assists, 50-49. Where I think this game was won was in the turnover battle. Indy had 20 turnovers, which is uncharacteristic. Both of these teams protect the ball well. That's super uncharacteristic, like, of Indiana, because Hallie don't turn the ball over. It's just not what he does. And he's the high usage point guard who's distributing and all that. And for as fast as they play to be decent with turnovers, or better than decent, like good, is phenomenal. Knicks had 15 turnovers. Pacers had 20. The difference in points off turnovers was Pacers +5. Now, if you go to Game 4, Pacers off of 17 Knicks turnovers had 20 points. Off of 11 Pacers turnovers, the Knicks had 9 points. That's a +11 margin in a 9-point game that they lost. I think for them going for the rest of this series, especially against this team, and quietly, if they are able to make it to the finals, this is ditto for OKC. They cannot turn over the ball anymore.
No.
They cannot turn over the ball. Like, especially the turnovers that lead to fast break, it can't happen. Because those are free points that you're giving a team that likes to generate fast offense, a lot of possessions, run the ball, shoot early in the clock. Here's another thing. Last night, Indiana had 16 fast break points, the Knicks had 15. So they were giving them a taste of their own medicine running on transition as well.
Turnovers.
You don't want to play that game, but you want to play a part of that game and capitalize when you can. And I think that was basically because the Knicks were turning them over more often than not. Shout out to Mitch, who dominated that stretch of the third quarter and looked like a defensive player of the year. Shout out to Mikal Bridges, who for the first time this series is picking up Hallie 94 feet. They finally figured out, hey, if they're letting the rest of the league grab dudes and hug dudes when they're off ball, why don't we do it and see what happens? And they're letting it rock. As long as you let go when they make a move, you straight. They letting it rock. And he suffocated Hallie. Like, I won't say that. Like, I saw a shout out to Benji where he said that he didn't think the ball pressure was part of the reason. And I say, okay, or that the ball pressure was that significant, but more so where they picked up and where they started their offense. Because they start their offense further away from the three-point line, it takes them a while to set up what they really want. They're not trying to take those 34. Everybody's not trying to take 30, 40-foot threes consistently, right?
Well, them shits are coming in game 6, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, yeah. They're going to have to let them fly. So I thought that was a great defensive pickup. And once again, Shamet and Wright. Like, what more can you say? First off, shout out to Landry Shamet. Over 0.5 threes, even money. Some of the best, easiest money you could have made. If you tapped into betting and sweating, you got a freebie right there. And as I told our friend Ali, if I didn't have a family and I wasn't a coward, I would have put mortgage on that bet. I would have put if I was like that, I would have put major money on that bet, because whether it was a whether it was a blowout or whatever, he was getting a 3 up. He was getting at least a couple up. So shout out to them, who once again, Sean, Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright, +8 in 24 minutes. They've just completely changed the paradigm of this series with what they bring on defense, how they disrupt. I don't know if I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't know if the Pacers have an answer for them on defense.
They don't. Well, I think, listen, well, again, that was a Landry Shamet game. If Landry Shamet could do this twice in a row, especially on the road, you know, listen, role players usually play better at home.
He was doing this on the road.
Yeah. So
he started this on the road.
This would not be a casual Friday if we didn't lob some grenades at the head coach. Gotta give Tibbs props for making the Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright adjustment. Like, if we're gonna crush Tibbs for not making adjustments, we got to give him props when he does, because this is helping them win the series. But the most frustrating thing, and the reason why I was discussing possible coaching replacements on the timeline on Wednesday, is because it was like, why did this take 100 games? Why? Like, to the Tibbs truthers and the Tibbs apologists and the Tibbs Hive and the Tibbs cult, and that doesn't even include Jonathan Macri, because, you know, if you've seen how Jonathan's coming around and being like, yeah, right. But to those people who are like ride or die, like, think about this. These guys did not play he did not trust these guys to play in the regular season in games against Chicago and Utah and Sacramento and Washington and Charlotte, right? And Toronto. But you trust them. Why do you trust them now besides, oh shit, I'm in trouble? Like,
because that eviction notice came on the front door. It ain't just rent due. That eviction notice showed up. I said it.
Eviction notice Tibbs. Like, it's just, it's frustrating. Like, it's frustrating. And because we won does not take away from the fact that's like, it's like, imagine if maybe they win game 1 if this happened. Maybe, you know, like, so whatever. With that said, let's just hope they bring that same energy in game 6. Landry Shamet was fighting over screens like his life depended on it. It's a quick turnaround. Let's see if he does it again.
I just figured it out. Why they get complacent.
Oh, please do tell.
They didn't have enough hungry dudes in the rotation.
You know something?
Now that they got DeLon Wright, now that they got Landry Shamet, now that Deuce McBride Deuce has always been getting minutes, but now that Josh Hart is coming off the bench, there's a new energy. There's a something to prove energy. There's I don't know if I'm going to be in the NBA next season, so I need to ride this out. Think about DeLon and Landry Shamet when they play home games and they look at Legends Row. And they see Chris Childs in the building. They see Chris Dudley in the building. They see Lance Thomas in the building. Tim Thomas. LJ, Stark, Sprewell, J.R. Smith in the building with a Melo jersey and his 2 rings from Cleveland and the Lakers in here. They see that and they say, yo, if you make an impact, we'll always have a home. We'll always have a home. So with DeLon and Landry specifically, they not only injected energy, defense, and an extension of the rotation to give the starters freshness, they injected hunger into this team so that now you've literally got guys who have to play desperate, like every game is a game 7, because some team is going to need a rotation player. Maybe it's this team. Maybe it might be someone else. They know there might be a trade down the line where you're added in as trade fodder, like what they did with Mikal Bridges. You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Mm-hmm. And they are ready. They are playing these games like they are game 7. And I think they come in, they show and prove they're professionals. And now they have the stage and the opportunity to help a team be greater than what they are.
And there's one name we forgot to shout out. Who you want to talk about someone who's playing to be in the league next year?
Big sneeze?
Big sneeze. Precious Achiuwa, who was a +6 in his 5 minutes and 37 seconds on the court.
Let's talk about it.
Yo, so I was sitting. So there were 2 people sitting in front of me. We were chatting a bit during the game, and they noticed that they were like when Cat got his 4th foul, Sphincters started tightening slightly.
Lemon booty in the building.
And so obviously go to Mitch, whatever, right? And then when they went to hack a Mitch, the dude in front of me turned around and was like, they're gonna have to put Precious in the game. And I was like, yo, you're right. And I looked up and there was 4 minutes, and there was 4 minutes, there was about 4.5 minutes left. And I have it here. Precious, and then so they do hack a Mitch. Mitch goes over 2. Tibbs goes to get Precious. And I actually texted one of my friends and was like, who's been saying, like, Precious are playing this series. I'm like, no, Rick Carlisle's been banging the table for this dude to play. No, he shouldn't play. So I said, watch how Indiana deals with Precious when the Knicks are on offense. Because my thing is, like, Precious, you just leave him alone. And I'm like, yo, I think that lineup was actually like Precious. I think Precious, Hart, Precious, and some combination of Hart and Mitch were in the building. At least 2 were in the court. At least 2 of them on the court. But the one thing about Precious is that
it was Hart, Bridges, Brunson, McBride, and Precious for a minute and 31. And then to start off, it was Bridges, Deuce, Wright, Achiuwa, and Hart.
That's what it was. It was DeLon Wright, because Precious came in for Mitch, so he couldn't have been a Mitch on the floor. So there was
no offense lineup.
Yeah, there were 3 non-shooters on the floor, and I was like, okay, just play these dudes even, right?
That was the prevent defense line.
But the one thing about Precious is that he makes the Knicks lineup way more switchable. So it was like, all right, for 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Well, I actually thought it was gonna be 2 minutes, but I was like, as soon as they get inside of 2 minutes, they'll put Mitch back in the game, because if you foul him off the ball, it's one shot in the ball back. But their ability to switch everything, because Brunson's still on the floor, but it's like this is a much more switchable defense. Absolutely made a difference in keeping them at bay. So shout out to Precious Achiuwa.
For sure. Like this dude, he really represented, man. He really represented. He went in there. Once again, we talk about pros. Mm-hmm. Achiuwa, once again, we talk about the hunger of knowing you don't know where you're going to be next season. He got in there. I think he caught a pass from Mikal and hit a dunk or a layup or whatnot. Let me see. Because his main, 2 points, 1 rebound, +7, played solid defense. Mm-hmm. We go back and we talk about, because I gotta say, man, I was ready to be done with this series after the amount of discourse that's been going on for the last 2 days. You want to talk about exhausting? We're going to get to a little bit of it. But even with the Tibbs discourse, where folks was pushing back on the Tibbs criticism as if folks don't have legitimate Tibbs criticism for him. Things that we've seen over an almost 100-game sample set. Right? Is it 100 games already?
82 plus 6 is
82
plus 6. 665. 665.
665. So game 6 is going to be 100.
Yes. 82 plus 12 is 100. Yes.
Yeah. So 99 games of data that folks have seen certain things. And when they call it out, you make it seem as if it's nonsense. This year, more than any year, has given credence to the Tibbs doesn't play guys who can be effective.
Yes. Yes.
That's what I would say. Not like, okay, you look at the Knicks bench and you will say, okay, they're not world beaters. It's not like they're OKC, but there's only one OKC. Think about, let's look at our opponent. Thomas Bryant getting minutes. Detrimental minutes, but Carlisle got to put him out there sometimes. Jarace Walker, who got the mothballs put out of him and started hitting threes out of nowhere, right? Benedict Mathurin, who all of a sudden gets the SGA whistle on offense.
Yo, Pacers fans complaining about the whistle last night. I'm like, my man, 00? 00 is 06 Dwayne Wade right now.
9 of 9. He shot 9 free throws and Brunson shot 4. This dude is getting a generational whistle on offense. Yo, low key, their Benedict Mathurin 20-point game away from this being a 40-point blowout. Like what he's been doing. And the annoying part is, yes, he's dropped 40-something points in the last 2 games. A good portion of that has come at the free throw line. Like it's insane. Jarace Walker, he went 2 of 2 from 3, 1 of 2 from 3, 6 points. I think he hit a free throw or something like that.
He hit a free throw. Yeah, like there was this dude behind me that was like when Walker checked in, he was like, "Who is this guy?" Thomas like, who is this guy? Who's this Walker guy? I've never, and I'm saying to myself, it's Jarace Walker. I know who it is. It's like, no one knows who you are. I'm like, yo, like.
You better guard him because they got people who can come off the bench and shoot 3. But that's what I'm saying. If you said Benedict Mathurin, TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, Thomas Bryant, Thomas Bradley, Jarace Walker, that doesn't instill fear. But it's the way in which they're deployed with the rest of the starters and mixed and matched. They do like hockey shifts with these teams. They get these guys out. Carlisle plays them for a certain amount of time. If it works, ride it out. If not, all right, Siakam, get back in. We're going to get this guy out. Or we'll switch Ben Shepherd, another guy I forgot. They got too many guys, bro. But if you look at it on paper, you like, I'm not shook of this, but it's the way in which they're deployed and the opportunities that they give. Ben Shepherd being able to hold the line while Hallie sits, or when Neesmith sits, or Nembhard sits, so that he could give them some time while they're trying to either mount to come back or hold off the Knicks. It doesn't matter about the individual talent. It is how the sum of the parts complement the whole. And that's what the bench is really about. So yes, we could have our qualms. We could say, yo, we don't want to see this guy. We want to see that guy. Real talk, the one bench move that was solid was Campaign no longer getting minutes because he showed this is just not his series, and that's fine. But part of your job as a coach is to find the series that match the personnel. And I think in this one of those missteps was you got guys who can defend, who can come off the bench more than anything and defend and stretch the court. That's exactly what the Pacers want to do. So you got to employ that. So now quietly, the Knicks are winning the war of attrition. Nesmith got an ankle sprain. Bradley got a knee or a hip or whatever the case may be. They're not getting worn down. Like, yeah, Cat has the knee contusion, but this dude be writhing in pain and then he's good. So until he can't play, he's good to me. They're quietly winning the war of attrition. And now I'm sure that the Pacers planned for the starters to be overtaxed so that they can run them out. Right? This isn't the Cavs where you're relying on Ty Jerome and D Wade to bring you back. They got solid veterans, and the starters and the main players are still here and still contributing. So yes, I do think it's a valid criticism that Tibbs should have used the bench more so that he would get whatever arbitrary confidence that he needs as a coach to play them. But yes, you do have to give them an opportunity, especially if the Pacers only played 7 guys. I get it. You're playing 7-on-7 and you rock it with your best 7 versus their best 7. I get it. The minute they expanded their rotation, you got to match that because we literally watched our team crumble in the semifinals last year.
Yes.
While the Pacers were running a billion players. You got to prevent that. So I think that was fair.
Shout out to Rick Carlisle, who is a great coach. Someone said this. I don't remember if it was on the post-game show. I don't remember if it was on KFS or anywhere else. I think it was on Zach Lowe said it. But how Carlisle has coached in Detroit, Indiana, Dallas, and back to Indiana, and all 4 styles are the same. All 4 styles are different. It's not like those Dallas teams are not the same as this team. It's not the same as those Detroit teams. So shout out to Rick Carlisle because Rick Carlisle is willing to try something and be like, all right, if this doesn't work, then I'm going to go away from it. But he's willing to try it. I will say that I think so many people have PTSD from last season in terms of the bench. So that now it's kind of like, because last year, listen, like there were people who were like, he's going to be playing Daquan Jeffries. And I'm like, chill, right? But if you look at guys 7 through 11 so like I have the box score up here for guys 7 through 11 for game 7 last year against Indiana. And it's Miles McBride. I'm looking at the wrong one. It's the 7th man is Precious Achiuwa, Alec Burks, Daquan Jeffries, Shake Milton, Jericho Sims. Now compare that to Miles McBride, Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright, Precious Achiuwa. Like our pushback all year has always been like you are now gaslighting me if you told me that this bench wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
You're not, from this point forward, if you tell me this bench ain't good enough to contribute, you're gaslighting me. Right? Don't do that. We have proof of concept. I don't know what else you need. I don't know what else you need to see. We got guys that can contribute. If put into optimal position to succeed, they can be successful.
Rick Carlisle really manifested Precious Achiuwa in the series. It's insane. He really manifested Precious Achiuwa in this series. And now he's probably walking around like they called me a madman. They said that I'm trying to get Precious on so that we could have some type of advantage. But, I'm going to tell you this. I don't know what's up with Nesmith's ankle. I don't know if they're still like of course, after all the discourse that was going on around about Jalen Brunson and the team after game 4, now all of a sudden we don't know what's up with Nesmith's ankle. And after he got washed by Brunson, we don't know what's up with his ankle. And it might be an ongoing thing. Whatever. That Thomas Brantley injury is going to loom large if he cannot play in game 6. Because that means Thomas Bryant is going to have minutes. Bryant is going to have to play. Okay. And he's been pretty much schemed out of the rotation because of Cat.
Hey, Mitch.
What did you think about this Hallie Brunson Knicks team, this whole discourse that blew up on Wednesday around who's a superstar, who's better, this whole very average team, with the Knicks and all of that. Like, bro, when I tell you I was exhausted, I was absolutely exhausted. Like, I was tired of hearing that. It's like I had to like tune out and get out of there, man.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get out and just do something else because I was getting furious by the second just watching and listening to so many trash takes. Tony Bradley, thank you, True Sports fan. Tony Bradley.
Okay,
they both were Thomas to me.
Okay,
Thomas.
Well, listen, we live in take culture. We live in hot take culture. We live in I need to validate my guy, denigrate your guy. So none of it surprised me. I am not ready to put Halliburton in superstar status just yet. He's getting there. Like, can he win one more game first? Like, because listen, if they lose this series, and he basically tricked away game 5, because part of the reason I said Knicks in 7 is because I knew the Knicks would trick off a game, even though I thought they're a better team, which they did. And I knew there would be at least 1 or 2 games where Halliburton would be chilling in the corner drinking a beer, which it was last night. Which one of them was last night. It's just exhausting. It's like Mike Greenberg. This team is not average.
He's very average.
Stop it.
I know he was pissed. I know he was pissed because he saw the bullshit narratives that were forming against Brunson, but in shooting back at the ops, one of the friendly fire, the team caught a stray.
Speaking of the ops, to the Becky Hammon backers who are nowhere to be found until game 4. Nowhere to be found. I ain't seen them all year until after game 4. You should be ashamed of yourself. And here's why. Jalen Brunson is not the reason why they're down. Is not like the guy putting up Jordan numbers to say that, well, they can't win because of him is blasphemous, right? And shout out to, I forget the dude who tweeted it, who said like, yo, if you take SGA and Brunson and switch them, is OKC no longer a contender? And people are tying themselves in knots about, well, Shea gives him a higher ceiling and Shea is taller and da-da-da. And it's like, no.
That's not what we're asking.
That's not what we asked you. If Brunson was in place of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, are the Oklahoma City Thunder title contenders or not? And if you say the answer is no, I don't know what to tell you. And listen, Warriors fans telling me about small guards not being able to lead to championships is absolutely peak. Absolutely peak. And guess what? You can say Steph is different. And I'd agree with you. Steph is different. Jalen Brunson is not Stephen Curry. But you know what? Stephen Curry didn't become Stephen Curry until he was deployed in a manner that made him Stephen Curry. And if that doesn't happen, Stephen Curry does not become Stephen Curry. Yes, in the history of the NBA. So we have 70. That's why I never really got as angry. What Becky Hammon said didn't really bother me because, look, we have 79 years of NBA history. Like, this is the 79th NBA season. Is this 79? 46, 60. So. Yeah, this is the 79th NBA season. And it's like, it's Steph, it's Isaiah Thomas. Some people say Chauncey Billups. I would say Rasheed Wallace, whatever. But, like, it's not a lot of guys. I agree. But it's not a surprise that this is happening now in today's NBA. It's more likely to happen in today's NBA than the NBA of years ago. Right. So because of that, I'm not willing to rule it out. And I was one of the more skeptical people about, like, I don't know if Jalen Brunson can be the best player on this championship team. We may need to bring in a player that's better than him. And it may be true. And I said this years ago. I don't care if Jalen Brunson is the best player on my championship team. I just want him on my championship team.
Facts.
But now here's what I will say, and I'll throw it back to you. There are things that Jalen Brunson can do to be better. because basketball is two sides of the court.
Yep.
And as amazing as on offense, DJ tweeted this and people jumped down his throat, and I understood what he was trying to say. It's what he's talking about, the dynamics between Brunson and Randall and Brunson and Cat, and apparently saying that the dynamic is not great meant they were terrible, which is stupid. But what he said, and I agree with wholeheartedly, and we're talking about Steph Curry, is that like Jalen Brunson needs to consistently get to a Steph Curry level of bad defense. Because Steph Curry is not good on defense, but get to that level. And honestly, what he did yesterday, he was at that level of defense. Like, I don't need you to lock people up. I just don't need you to, and I think Tibbs is not doing him any favors with his hedge and recover scheme. I'd rather just switch everything.
Right.
But if you're going to hedge and recover, don't hug and basically create another screener for your guy to get around. Actually play, to quote Rick Pitino, play some fucking defense. And he did. And they won comfortably. And we're going to need that because they're going to target your ass tomorrow night. What are you going to do? How are you going to deal with it?
You know what? I want them to target him, because if they're targeting him, that means they're not running their beautiful game offense. And that's the part they're playing into the Knicks' hands. There was a part of the game where I think, once again, I believe 10-3 or 14-3 or one of those, where Carlisle took an early timeout because he saw that they were hunting mismatches instead of running their offense. And he said, nope, I'm going to stop this now. It's game 5. We're in their building. This is going up. And I gotta stop it at some point. So yeah, man, I that's part of the reason why I'm like, yo, let them attack. Let them attack, because like Siakam had to go all world in game 4 to take advantage of his matchup, but they weren't running their offense. It wasn't until I felt like in the third quarter, Wright and Shamet should have came in earlier to shut off water and to slow it down a bit and slow down what the Pacers were doing. Like, that beginning of the third quarter was essentially the game when they came out on a 9-0 run and went crazy.
Yeah.
There were the new starters just had a bad opening to the third, which is once again why they're so maddening. How do you come out in that third quarter and you come out lax, right? Mikal, layups will not hurt you, fam. I promise you, if you go strong to the hoop, the most that'll happen is a little contact. Yes, danger zone. Bro, that play where he had the fast break, got the ball, Nesmith was behind him, and he decided to spin and fade away. I think somebody asked him in the post game about it, and he was just like, I don't know. Like, he didn't have an answer. It's mental. Yes, I believe it is. It's got to be something in his head. People have made the point before that you don't get to become an Iron Man by consistently taking contact at the rim, and I understand that. Mm-hmm. But at some point, you got to go up strong, bro. He at least has one of those lazy layups that get his shit pinned to the back of the backboard. Like, you have to. One of the, I'm all over the place. Going back to the whole discourse where people were exalting Hallie as a superstar, where I think he's on the cusp. He's on the cusp, right? Mm-hmm. I think if you say that he's one of the top 15 players in the league right now, I won't argue with you. But the issue that I had with the anti-Jalen discourse, or what was starting to try to bubble up, was since the time that Jalen Brunson has put on the Knicks uniform, mm-hmm. he has never put up a Hallie stat line like Hallie put up in Game 5. Hallie has multiple of those in the playoffs. Brunson, especially with back against the wall, he hasn't done that. So that's pretty much where I'm like, y'all are poo-pooing on Brunson and trying to say you can't win this, you can't win that, when literally for the last 3 postseasons, he's only been compared to top 75 players. The accomplishments he have rival top 75 players, and in some instances, the top 3. So, yeah, that was really annoying. But when I look to to game 6.
Mm-hmm.
I just want a consistent effort, man. And I feel like a broken record when we say this. If they show up the same way they showed up game 6 versus Boston, game 4 versus Boston, and even game 5 versus the Pacers, real talk, the Pacers should not be able to share the court with them. If they come out with that same intensity, that same ferocity, and the same level of communication and execution, the Pacers should not be able to fuck with them at all. The problem is they leave the door open because they're collective space cadets. And that's what's so frustrating.
It's like Robert said right here. Thanks. This is a great comment. We always mention playing with a sense of urgency. I think when our backs are against the wall, we're viewed as underdogs when we turn the switch on. When they're disrespected, they do something about it the next time. Not in real time, the next time. But guess what? There is no next time if you get disrespected. There is no next time if you let go of the rope because of that.
Nobody's gonna care next season.
No one's gonna care. It's gonna be 3 months of you blankety blanks, all of you. It's gonna be that. So, look, we'll see what happens. And even shout out to my man Chris Barnett, Hoop Spaces, who said,
yes, sir.
Knicks finally played the way I thought they would to open the series. Great win. Because he had Knicks in 6. And one of the things he said is like the Knicks' physicality and rebounding should be their X factors. And the rebounding has been there, although they've been some maddening offensive rebounds. There's been a couple of games where the offensive rebound they've gotten killed on. But like the physicality, slowing the pace down, dictating the terms of the game. That's if, like, to your point, if the Knicks could play like this, like Knicks in 5 was actually in my head because I was like, yo, we get the best version of the Knicks. They should not be able to, because yes, you want to tell, you know what's funny? I used to say 1 through 11, the Pacers are better, but 1 through 5 we're better. Now are they better 1 through 11? Because the 11th man was getting his name chanted in the Madison Square Garden last night,
bro. And this is what's so sickening, bro. This is what's so maddening. Like they got it. They got it. I will tell you this much. Do not come back to New York. If I was a Pacer fan, I'd be screaming this from the top of my lungs. Fam, I think they figured it out. I think Tibbs is playing everybody now. And now we got the clutch player of the year and a team who plays better, who plays well on the road, and who plays their best when they got nothing to lose. And now we have everything to lose. This isn't, you know how the Knicks fans have felt this whole series because they were put in the position they asked for. They beat the defending champs. They were the favorites in this series, had home court advantage, lost home court in 2 games, never reclaimed it back. This felt like a disappointment, felt like a failure because the expectations changed. Well, now, Indiana, the expectations have changed for you. This is no longer an upstart. You're no longer a startup. You have just went public. And now you are beholden to the shareholders who are your fans, who now see that you are 1 win away from the conference finals with a home game where you front run the best at home.
Yes.
Your best player has been sauntering and taunting and jawing at everyone this whole playoffs. They called that man overrated. He been stepping up.
Yes.
Y'all, it's a hated rival. Y'all had Pat McAfee out there in game 4 cutting promos for Timothy Chalamet and Ben Stiller and Spike Lee, calling them sons of bitches and telling them to go back to New York. And New York is back. And them guys are definitely going to be back in the building. I know Sean hates momentum, but momentum is in the building in game 6. If you do not win, I do not fear the demons of 95. I do not fear any type of manufactured fill-in by national media and by Knicks haters. I don't fear none of that. You come back to game 7, you're going to have to play like game 7 last year to have a chance. The only difference is you would not be going against a triage squad.
Yes. OG Anunoby will be there.
OG Anunoby will be in the building. Cat will be in the building. Brunson will be in the building. That big 11 will be in the building. So if I'm a Pacers fan right now, end it. The same way how last series, remember how game 3 was a must-win for the Knicks against the Celtics after they went up 2-0 when nobody was saying game 3 was a must-win for the Pacers this series. Game 3 was a must-win for the for the Knicks when they went up 2-0 the Celtics. Then game 6 was another must-win because you don't want to go back to Boston after giving up a 3-1 lead and their best player is hurt and they're going to be charged up with the crowd, blah, 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 blah. I will echo that sentiment and foist the pressure upon the Pacers. This is a must win. This is a must win because if you go back, I'm sorry. I will take my point guard over yours. I will take the guy who no one on your team can guard. I will take him over anybody else that you have. And I'm utmost confident. And anything could happen. They could win, they could lose, whatever. I'm just telling you my confidence level. Mm-hmm. And usually I'd be super shook, super nervous. But this is what it feels like to release expectation. I got nothing to lose at this point.
Yes.
I have nothing to lose.
Yes. If they lose tomorrow night, whatever.
Que sera, sera.
Whatever.
Now got it. They win.
Lose.
Go ahead.
They lose Monday night, it's their ass. I'll tell you that much.
And this is what Knicks fans said. If you bring them boys back to New York, they can't win. You go for the head and you run them out of the gym. And Sean, I was so resigned to this series after game 4. They win game 6. Yo, the city needs them to win like oxygen because boy, that choke symbol shit is going to be the biggest Uno reverse meme in current NBA history.
Oh my goodness.
And for a team and a player who consistently front run, like you didn't see no join from Hallie, nothing when they were down. It's only when they're up. It's only when they're up. And you can pop all the shit you want when you're up. It is what it is. We just notice that the talk doesn't happen until you're comfortably up. Comfortably up. Or you're the game-winning shot or whatever. Right? So, boy, would this go down in the annals of Knicks Pacers and even the Knicks lore as the time where the Knicks finally did to other teams what they've been doing to the Knicks.
Yes.
So much negative energy. There's so many people who do not want this team to win. You know what our clip showed at social, that clip where we were talking about why people hate Knicks fans?
Yes.
There are people were showing up heavy, still commenting after game 4. This game, nothing.
Dude.
Nothing.
Dude, I tweeted this earlier today. I said Knicks win game 5. Celtics and Sixers fans are like, fuck, right? It's funny to talk about reversing the energy. By the way, shout out to the 1,144 people who are watching us. Big up to all y'all.
Oh yeah, salute.
I don't know how much time you got because we could be here for 2 hours. I don't know how much time you got, but I will say this. It's funny you talk about like the memes and like what people are doing to us. We have now the opportunity to do to them if we win this game. If you see right here, that says Tottenham Hotspur.
It does.
Because Tottenham Hotspur won a trophy for the first time in 17 years and the first European trophy in 41 years. I don't know if you heard me say that over these airwaves. I've only said it about 300 and 400 times. And I'm going to continue to say, you know why? Because the Tottenham Hotspur Football Club are the New York Knicks of the Premier League in the way they are treated. And you know something? You know what's been fun the last since we won the Europa League about a week ago? You know what's been so fun about it? Watching all the trophy jokes and being on the other side of the joke. It has been so much fun watching all the trophy memes and the trophy jokes. And guess what? We are now on the good side of those. And listen, bro, if they win this series and that Halliburton choke can go next to the Reggie Miller choke gesture and both series they lost,
In
and
7.
both series they'd have lost in 7 in New
MSG.
York to go to the NBA Finals. Man, yo, Ice-T in meme from New Jack City. If you know, you know. But I'm asking this really quick question. This is a comment here, and then after that, we can get to these super chats. And do you believe this? And the comment is,
shout out to Justin
Rich says the Knicks are done playing with their food. Do
Justin,
you believe this?
That. I don't believe that. I'm not. Listen, I'm supporting. I got 1 foot back. I'm not going all the way back in because every time I say that shit, they play. So no, I don't believe that. I'll believe it when they win Game 7. That's when I'll believe it. Hell no, I don't believe that shit because we got guys collectively, great group of guys. They play too much. They play too much. And I think part of it is they know they're nice, so they feel like they can overcome whatever. But sometimes when the tidal wave hits, no matter whether you can swim or not, you might drown. So they just gotta be as focused as they possibly can be. I don't know what they did before this Game 5. They gotta bottle it. They got to release it and they got to do it, man. Because the more I think about this shit, Justin, the more I think about it, oh my God. Yo, I need that Game 7 win, bro. I need Game 6 and I need Game 7 because I didn't realize how much it is paining people to see the Knicks prosper. Even someone who's hyper aware of it, now it's on a whole other level. It's on a whole other level because the Knicks are six wins away from all of them jokes, all of the Knicks for Clicks industrial complex is 6 wins away from being completely out of commission.
Dude.
You know how long we've been waiting for this?
For me, 33 years.
Need it. Need it. Need it like oxygen. And that's where I say my rooting interest is there. I can't put my emotions on it because it's too close to home, bro. It's too close to home. All the sports failures that I've seen from this team, all the almost successes, I can be proud of them and be disappointed at the same time. But they have an opportunity, although I said it, no real regrets from this point forward. Y'all protected home. We said it. If you want to go to the finals, win Game 6 and smash them in Game 7. You do that. Dice roll, I will not mention. Only for historical posterity is the only time I will mention it. I won't mention dice roll. Game 1 becomes whatever. All of that. Past.
Yes.
All of that is in the past. You get these next 2 games. All of that is in the past, and it could be past that is buried. That just becomes great fodder and great B-roll for a potential championship reel.
Remember that time they blew Game 1 in the conference finals?
We were sick. We were sick. Everybody got traded, but they overcame. This is what the Knicks fan experience is about, bro. This is what the Knicks fan experience is about. And as Sean will tell you with Tottenham, it's possible. It's possible. I started watching the Premier League for real in like 2008. And all I've heard is Spurs jokes. Oh, and when Sean told me they're like the Knicks, I said, well, thank you very much. I'm going to go root for this team over here. Because I got, and to be fair, the team that I selected was not a front-running team at the time. 2008, Sean, listen to what I'm saying. When
I'm
I
about to
started
look up
rooting for
Chelsea's
them,
history. You mother.
no, go ahead.
You mother. Don't, you're not gonna gaslight me.
No,
They're
I'm not.
talking
No,
about this.
listen to what I said. I joined in 08. Run up their history. They started winning after I joined, low key, like frequently.
You motherfucker.
No, go ahead. I take full solace in that. And it might, low key, I might go back to 06. It was 06 to 08 when I think I really started locking in with Chelsea. But it wasn't because they had won a title. It wasn't because of them.
All right.
My man was a fan, and he was my entrance into shout out to our frat brother Steve. He was my entrance into watching it for real. So I was like, okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. It wasn't like I stepped in and said I'm gonna be Man United. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, that's fair.
Some Cowboy shit. I didn't come into the Premier League side, or I didn't go watch La Liga and I'm Real Madrid or Barcelona, or I'm a Bayern Munich, or I'm PSG for whatever that's worth.
I will say that, Jeff, that Chelsea won the Premier League in 06, won the FA Cup in 07 and 09. So guess what? And they won the League Cup in 07. So
I didn't know what any of that meant. To be fair, I only knew the Premier League. Sean, you remember the conversation we had when I was like, why do all these fucking tournaments matter?
Yes.
What the fuck is all? Why should I care? It took, by the time I started caring, they started winning less. So I say all of that to say there is a path forward.
Yes, there is a path forward.
There is a path forward. We're gonna get to the super chats.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, did you see, and this is going to hit home for you the way it hit home for me. Did you see Chuck and Shaq asking Cat about the fouls?
I actually didn't see it.
Damn, are we gonna get copyright struck if we play it?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
You gonna look for it?
Yeah, I got it. I tweeted it out.
Okay, yeah. Put it in there and we'll play it. While you look for it, I will I'll read some chats real quick. One is from Matt, who says, "Hello from Chicago, Nixon 7. Salute to you." And from Franklin's Tower, he says, "Checking in from St. Louis. Congrats on 30K and thanks for all you guys do."
Thank you, bro.
In 7. Thank you to everyone for getting us to 30K. Thank you for people who check in all over the world, including our own Andrew Claudio, who says, "Happy Friday, Knicks fans. Congratulations to you and our entire team / community on this milestone, 30K and counting." Again, we cannot thank you all enough for getting us to 30K and counting. That's the key. We're not stopping here. The price of the brick will continue to go up. And another super chat from Andrew says, also clarification, 8 teams have come back from 3-1 this century. Misspoke in the post game, subconsciously blocked out Knicks Heat in 97 and a few from an era before we have flat screens. Listen, Andrew, I know that you have barely slept last night. You've been working overtime, over double and triple time, so it's perfectly understandable. But yeah, that's fine. But yeah, listen. Like I said, 8 times this century, that's 8 times this century. That's a thing.
Let's make it 9. Let's make it 9. Oh, speaking of Premier League talk, I sent you the clip. Speaking of Premier League talk, tell me Landry Shamet doesn't look like an all-world false 9 from a scrappy clip. I said he was like the Mo Salah of Klay Thompson's.
You're hilarious.
If that ain't Mo Salah, brother, and mind you, I think he's straight, like, they said he's from like Kansas City or something like that. I was like, yo, that man is a Moroccan national who scored 30 goals in Serie A last season, bro.
All right. I think I got the clip here.
Oh, good. And this is good for the first time you watching this. I need this.
All right. Let me take this down and let's hit play.
Can you hear it? Yo, there's no sound. There's no sound.
There's no sound.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. All right, I'll figure that. I'll figure that out. Okay. I'll figure that out. We'll come back to. In the meantime, it's actually while you do that, Jeff.
While I do what?
No. While I look for that, what I'm gonna ask you to do.
Hold on.
Yes.
I got you. I know GMAC. I know you lurking in the rafters like Sting. If I send him, I can send him the MP4 file, and you can share that.
You can send it to me. You can send it to me. I'll share it. Yes. Yeah, you can share it.
There we go.
Okay. So while you do that, I'm gonna remind you, lovely people. If I could find it. That Fanatics Fest is coming up soon, and that you
can. Something I gotta criticize.
Okay.
Can y'all hear that? Did you hear that? Did y'all hear that?
I can hear it. Yeah, chat. Let us know if you can.
Chat. Can you hear that? Did you hear that?
Hit play for an extended period of time, so we get see.
I said something. Now I gotta criticize you. Yeah, man. Why do you be getting them dumb fouls?
I was going to ask the same question.
Why do you do that?
God only knows.
I mean, because when you got your fourth foul, they took you out. They made a run.
Yeah.
You got to stop. I got
to do a much better job.
Yes.
I got to do a much better job.
You can get fouls, but a couple like the other day when you just grab somebody by the wrist.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Or you talking about last game or this game?
Last game.
Every game. Oh, you talking about the one with pick and roll?
You just grabbed his arm.
Yeah.
But you can't be getting those
Nah,
fouls.
I can't. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. I hurts our team.
Yo, you know what that reminded me of? Hold on. You know what that reminded me of? You ever seen the Jamie Foxx on Jimmy Fallon when he imitated Doc Rivers?
Nah, I never saw that.
It's not my fault. It's not Blake's fault. It's not Blake's fault. It's my fault. When he started, and the reason why I said this would hit for you, like it would hit different for you, is because as some of you know, as most of you know, y'all might not know, me and Sean are in the same fraternity. Shout out to Alpha Phi Alpha. That felt like old heads talking to younger frat members about some dumb shit that they're doing. And that is what you call mentorship. And what I appreciated about it, and I sent it to a bunch of my frat chats, and pretty much the consensus was the same thing. We love how receptive Cat was. How he was receptive to it. He didn't try to push back. We love the fact that he tried to yada, yada, yada it. He tried to, it is what it isn't. And Broccoli was like, nah, because you do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. My favorite part was when he was like, yeah, I do be grabbing the wrist. He's like, hold on, you talking about today or last? And Shaq is like, every game, bro. Every game. And I think that moment could be pivotal. Imagine if the last gift NBA on TNT gives is assisting a New York Knicks star player to eliminate one part of his game, the most detrimental part of his game, in order to come back down to assist in coming back down 3-1 and winning the series. I'm telling you, man, they win that game 6. They come back to the Garden, they win game 7. We get the blue and orange derby with OKC. Hey, win the games first. Win the games first. But what I'm saying is, we've said it here before, Sean. Why not us?
Why not?
Why not us? Why can't the Knicks be the 14th team ever to do it? Why can't they be the 9th team this century? They got the talent. Oh, I got something for you.
Yes.
Landry Shamet reversing the 3-1 curse. Because now he's down 3-1 in a series instead of up 3-1.
Which 3-1 team was he on?
The Clippers.
Oh, wait a minute.
Remember that was the Landry Shamet curse that he's been on teams that have been up 3-1 and have lost the series?
He was on that Clipper team in the bubble.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. He's been on those last teams that have given up 3-1 leads. So imagine. He's on a team and he's contributing in the playoffs to a team that's down 3-1 to come back and win the series.
That would, dude. It's almost as if it's almost as if the stars are aligning, but I'm not going to go that far. It's almost. But please just win 2 more. Please.
I'm just saying it would be cool. I'm just looking at everything, man. But to throw some cold water on this energy, none of it matters if you don't win game 6. Not a single second of what I'm saying matters if you don't win game 6. You got to win game 6. Win game 6, bring them back home, win game 7, shut down 7th Ave, and then prepare. And also, sidebar, a lot of y'all are from some corny-ass cities, man, talking about what we do at 7th Ave. Do you understand that's the main exit for Madison Square Garden? And all the fans go outside and want to cheer a victory? We just call that being outside. That's not a parade. It's just us being outside. And the cool thing about New York is, after that, you could do 15 other things. You don't got to get back to the farm and churn butter. Or tend to the fucking hens. Or get the plows ready for the morning's harvest. Or prepare planting seeds for the blood moon.
You're hilarious.
We don't got to do that. The city don't shut down at 2 a.m. They don't sleep. Yes, we're a team. We're insomniacs. That's why we go crazy after wins. Get your big city inferiority complex the fuck out of here. And let us do what we do.
All right. And so let's take care of some business. Let's get out of here because we've been here for an hour and 32 minutes. So
yeah, it's time to go.
We have one more super chat. And that is from Andrew Claudio. He says, lastly, more importantly, which expo was that, Sean? So this expo's jersey is of, you'll never guess.
Moises Alou. Tomas Brady, was he drafted by them?
Yes, because Tom Brady was drafted by the Montreal Expos in the 18th round of the 1993 draft or 94 draft. Yes, he was drafted in the 18th round. So that's who this is. As some people started making Tom Brady jerseys for the Expos, you could buy one of these on eBay. So that's what I got. And
you got a Russell Wilson Yankee jersey?
Oh, fuck that. Well, thank you to Andrew, to everyone for your generous contributions. Really quickly, let us promote Fanatics Fest, June 20th to 22nd, 2025 at the Javits Center in New York City. Interestingly enough, June 22nd is the date of Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and that is a conflict I would not mind having. But you can join Knicks Film School at Fanatics Fest 2025. There'll be Man on the Street interviews, live podcasts, and so much more. Use promo code Knicks Film School 20 to get 20% off your ticket price, but that is only until June 4th, which is next week. So again, Knicks Film School 20, and you'll get 20% off. You'll get 20% off your ticket price, and you can go for 1 day, you can go for 2 days, you can go for all 3 days. So you guys can take care of that. Again, that is Fanatics Fest NYC, June 20th to 22nd at the Javits Center on the west side of Manhattan in the greatest city in the world, New York City. And one other thing, I was trying to get this stupid thing to airdrop to my computer, but my computer doesn't want to cut.
Text it to me. I'll put it up.
Okay. Well, I can text it. Yes, I'll text it to you. We are having another watch party at T Squared Social this Saturday for Game 6. So, and that's the graphic I just sent to you. For some reason, it won't let me airdrop to my computer because that would just make entirely too much sense. So T Squared Social is located on 42nd Street between 5th and Madison Avenues in New York City. There you go. You my man. There we go. There you go. I'll just do that one. So that's this Saturday, Knicks Film School playoff watch party. at T Square Social, 42nd Street between 5th and Madison Avenues in Manhattan, just steps from Grand Central Terminal. So you can get there from Westchester, from Long Island, from wherever. Free admission. The game starts at 8. We'll be probably near the front. I will be there. So definitely absolutely pull up. And listen, it's going to be chill. Like, it's going to be chill. Because listen, if they lose, whatever. But if they win, it's going up Monday night. And the last thing I'll say, and this is a bit of a personal plug for me. My good friend, Jeff's good friend Cedric Shine is launched his own sports-based marketing agency called Strivers. They are having their launch party tomorrow for it's a watch party for the UEFA Champions League final between Inter Milan and Paris Saint-Germain, PSG. That's happening at HK Hall, which is on the west side of Manhattan. It's from 2 to 8. I've tweeted it. I will tweet it again. I will pin it to the top of the page, pin it to the top of my account. That's at _SeanWW. So guess what? I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna watch either Inter or PSG win the Champions League, and then that game will end around like 6-ish. And then I'm taking my behind right over. No, I'm going to watch Fergie Baby do his live performance because he's in the building. And I'm taking my behind right over to T Square to watch Game 6 of the Knicks and Pacers Eastern Conference Final. So that's a busy Saturday, but this is going to be a good time. So make sure you come out. The watch party curse is not real. Bring your asses out. Come buy me a beer.
That's not real at all. They transcend watch party curse. It's not even about the parties. I told y'all, whatever energies you think affect this team, it doesn't. It's all on them, man.
Yep. All right. So that's all the administrative stuff I had to say. So Jeff, you can take us home.
All right. Over 1,500 people tapping in to watch Casual Friday. We appreciate you so much on a New York Knicks Eastern Conference Finals playoff edition. Thank you so much for locking in with us. You know what we say, man. Like this video if you love what you're hearing. Subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this link for all your Knicks fans in your life that like to hear great conversation about the Knicks. Here on Knicks Film School, 30,000 plus fanatical fans who love this team and love to talk hoops, and we are 2 of them. All right. Patreon. You want extra content for a small bit of change? You can quench your thirst for Knicks knowledge. Knicks Film School newsletter by Jonathan Macri, 5 days a week. This man is pumping out content time in, time out. You get him on the post games and you get his thoughts afterwards where he gets some of his deepest insights. It's really dope. I'm a subscriber. I was a subscriber before I was a part of the crew, and I still am. So y'all should definitely lock into that. And just thank you so much, man. Keep the hope alive. Root strong. Don't let anybody try to shame you for supporting a team like the New York Knicks, because they are one of the last 3 teams in the association playing hoops, and they have a better than good shot of next week being a show where we talk about game 1 of the NBA Finals, or it's going to be a postmortem. I would love it to be the former. So they have a chance. Well, like I said, it's on them now. We can send all our support and energy to let it be extra, but it's on them. So thank you so much for joining us. Chat, you were amazing. Thank you so much for keeping it live in there. Thank you to all the super chats, all the comments that you provided. That's Sean. I'm Jeff. You're amazing. This is Casual Fridays on Knicks Film School, and we will talk to you next week.